Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the Recruitment Roundup podcast, which is brought to you by BMS Performance. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, BMS Performance is a specialist sales and marketing recruitment consultancy. For the last 30 years, we've been helping businesses across the UK recruit for vacancies at every level. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Recruitment Roundup podcast brought to you by BMS Performance. I'm your host, Mike Leather.
And I'm the co-host, Sam Musiarira.
How's it going, Sam?
All good? All good, Mike. Yeah, good. How are you?
All right. All good. Really excited for this episode today. I think we've been talking about this internally, haven't we? But January's been frantic, as we mentioned on the last few podcasts. And we know firsthand how challenging it can be as sales professionals to make sure that you are constantly focusing your time on tasks that are essentially going to push the boat forward, going to drive the needle forward, as we like to say. So we wanted to put a podcast together today with some tips and advice on how, as sales professionals, we can make the best use of our time to make sure we're doing the right things at the right time and getting the most out of our day. So yeah, really excited to get into this one, Sam.
Yeah, no, really good. It's a really, really good topic. Yeah, I think it's pertinent with the theme that we're in, the speed and the way things are at this time of the year. It's a really, really good topic. So excited to get stuck in, share some points, and hopefully there'll be some value to share with everyone who's listening.
Yeah, definitely. So the first point we want to speak about is something that is very close to my heart and I bang on about constantly, and those who work with me will know this. It's time blocking. Sam, for anyone that doesn't know what we mean by the phrase time blocking, do you just want to give a very brief overview to what we actually mean by it?
100%, Mike. It's a really, really good topic. I really love time blocking. It actually goes with the theme because I've got myself a new 2024 data page, which is going to assist me with my time blocking. So excited to speak about that. But just for anyone who doesn't know what time blocking is essentially splitting your day into blocks of time. Where you are setting aside time for different activities. So if you're a salesperson, it could include things such as prospecting, follow-ups, meetings, as well as admin-related tasks. So that's what time blocking essentially is in terms of breaking down your day into chunks based on the amount of time, splitting it into the different things that you're looking to do to achieve within your day. Hope that's explained quite well.
Perfect. What have you found personally, and I can talk about my challenges, difficulties with time blocking? Because in theory, it's very simplistic, isn't it? But in reality, it's a challenge to do it and stick to it.
And I think the good thing in time blocking is you've got a plan, right? In your mind, if we break down what that means, essentially you're coming into your day with the best intentions to be as proactive and as productive as possible, right? But the challenges that I found, just to answer your question, Mike, has then been just being able to stick to it and being able to, potentially hold yourself accountable, because within any day, within, our profession, things tend to crop up, that could get your attention to shift really from what you're ideally looking to do within that time of sort of 9 till 11. So I think the biggest challenge within time blocking is ideally sort of sticking to it, really, is in the most basic form, is being able to hold yourself accountable within those allotted time slots to do what you are looking to do within the day.
What sort of things stop you from being able to stick to your time blocking?
I think as a salesperson, things just happen really, and just to give you an example, it could be, an email, that's just come through for something that, is quite important. It could be something as, maybe a candidate on their way to an interview, hopefully, or a candidate not going to the interview, right? So, it's one of those things. It could be a call from a client, calling in, to follow up on a feedback on an interview, or it could be, a client looking to follow up, looking to discuss a potential brand new vacancy. So all these things happening during your day, ultimately can impact productivity, and that's within our profession, of course.
Outside of recruitment, it could be that you're working an account management role, and one of your key customers says they want to cancel the contract. So
Correct.
there are tasks that
Yeah.
are
100%.
urgent that would
Yeah.
take you out of a time block. But I think where I've found this really helpful and really beneficial in terms of my own personal experience with it, and I would say I've been time blocking religiously now for about, what are we on, about 4 years, I would say. It was after COVID and when we were all working from home that I really doubled down on it.
Okay.
Because working from home has its own challenges, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Own distractions, and I'd never worked from home before.
Yeah.
We'd 5 days in the office, as most businesses would be had been. COVID happens, the world of work changes. So for me, because I've always been very task orientated anyway, like outside of work, I'll write lists and the weekend, call me sad or whatever, don't care, but I'll write what I want to achieve at the weekend, little goals behind it. I've always been that way inclined. So for me, it made sense. But I found in that period of time blocking really helped me to ensure that I was getting everything out of my day that I wanted to get out of it. So, for example, let's say I started at 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9, might have been, lead generation, finding adverts, going on careers pages of clients, trying to identify 5 companies, get 5 leads to start the day with. Once I've done that, I might move on to cold calling for the next 2 hours. And within that session, I might say, right, I want to go out 20 cold calls. I want to speak to X amount of decision makers of who work in companies that I found these adverts or leads for. Then it may be briefing candidates and so on and so forth. So my day was built around this. And in my mind, there's only 2 things that could take me away from the time block. And that was disaster with a client. Maybe a candidate has resigned and they need to be spoken to straight away, or someone hasn't turned up for an interview. I'd say a third one, you receive an offer for a candidate, but otherwise there's very little that could pull me out of that time block. And by completing each time block, I'm just a little tick on the paper. Got a bit of a dopamine release. I've achieved something, building momentum throughout my day. That impacted me from a mental perspective positively, because I felt like I was getting somewhere. And the big thing was I felt like I was proactively driving my day forward rather than being reactive to everything that happens to me. I think as sales professionals, if you're in a super fast-paced role, and most sales roles are fast-paced, you can get swept away with the job. If you're in a role where it's a mix of account management and new business, and you're working in a company where there's a lot of moving parts, maybe you work in a service-led business like BMS, or there's plenty of other businesses like that where you might work with operations, you might work with marketing or whatever it is. You've got all these people coming to you for different things. So easy to get slipped into a trap, if you want to call it that, where you feel like the day's just happening to you. So for me, that's one of the big benefits that I saw with time blocking. And the biggest piece of advice, and we can talk more on this, I guess, is associating targets to the time block. What were your thoughts are on that?
Mike, I absolutely love that. And when I think about myself as a person, and any person, working within, an industry like ours, within sales, is there is that feeling of wanting to. How many times, could you look at your day? You've had the day's gone. You started the day at potentially 8 o'clock, and you finished quite late. You ask yourself, "What have I done today?" And without having that in place, usually it's like, bloody hell, what have I done? And
what
the beauty, what have I achieved? What's happened, right? And the beauty of, I really like that point that you shared with not just having the time block, but also setting little goals within that and giving yourself that little opportunity to tick that, give yourself that little dopamine, right? So even if you are having, potentially a challenging day as well, and, maybe things aren't quite going according to plan, you've spoken about, potential things potentially happening within an interview and all that kind of stuff. I can draw back to other industries, if you're working in logistics as an example, and a delivery is late, all that kind of stuff. But when you're able to tick these things, you can look at it and reassess. Maybe you get to lunchtime, reflect, look, I've actually been able to get all that done. I've been able to do my lead generation. I've been able to do my prospecting. I've been able to speak to 20 clients, or whatever that looks like, and being able to take that off, even though the day might have its challenges, reflecting and looking and seeing, this is what I've done. It's the real beauty of having the time block, but giving yourself that little tick, that little pat on the back to give yourself that encouragement. So I think you've shared some really great points there, Mike.
I think people listening to this as well, I'll be thinking about, right, so I've not time blocked before. I've applied structure to my day, but not to this level.
Yeah.
How do I time block my week out effectively to ensure I'm hitting my targets, essentially? What advice would you give to people on that 100%. Front?
I think when I think about, obviously you've gone with the question on focusing on a week, right?
Yeah.
I think the first thing is, within your role, you need to understand what your targets are, so if we're speaking about what those targets are for a week, within obviously a role, which could be a sales role, could be a certain amount of deals that you need to close within said week. If you need to achieve 10 deals by Friday and it's Monday, how many conversations do I need to have to get to 10 deals? Is that 100 different conversations so within a day? So how many calls do I need to get those conversations? So working backwards to then allot your week into 5 days, and then saying, to get to Friday, to get to my 10 deals, I need to have had 100 different conversations based on my conversion rate, and then allotting and making sure that you've included your prospecting time, your lead generation time, to make sure that you've got enough things in the funnel so that you could be able to identify these opportunities. You've then a lot of time within your day, within the week, to make sure that you're going to reach out to these people. You're then going to allot some further time to include emails and admin within that. So I think the key thing is to find out what your targets are, to understand your targets, to understand what you need to do to hit those targets, and then work backwards, and then creating a plan daily over the week
to hit that. So reverse engineering your target into daily chunks, so that you've got your target. The target then becomes, how many people do we need to speak to, how many proposals do we need to send out, how many calls do we need to make, how many discovery meetings do we need to book, how many existing clients we need to speak to, whatever it is. And then working your time, breaking your time blocking down. So what do we need to do each day to achieve that? And then within your time blocking, looking at your day, and this is going to take us nicely onto the next piece. Looking at your tasks and be able to sort them out into high, medium, low priority. I know you wanted to talk about the Eisenhower matrix around this.
Mike.
So tell us about that.
100%. Are you familiar with the name Eisenhower, Mike?
Not specifically, no. I've come across it. I know it's to do with avoiding like the urgency trap piece, etc. But so feel free to illuminate me on that, because I'm curious.
Mike. No, you're right. So just to give everyone an overview, really. So President Dwight Eisenhower is 34th President of the United States of America, 5-star general during the Second World War, and he is a guy that came up with the plan in terms of the importance of prioritization of tasks, really. And that's the proper top line on it. And what does that look like? So essentially he split his tasks into, within any day, the things that are urgent, and the things that are non-urgent. It's pretty much as simple as that. There are things that are absolutely critical that need to be done, that are urgent, and then there are things that just aren't urgent. And then within that, it is then broken down into 4 variables. So things that are urgent need to be done and done right now. Things that are aren't as urgent could be delegated to the level below. And then things that again aren't urgent, they could be scheduled to be done at a later time. And then things that aren't urgent could just be deleted. So it's literally urgent, non-urgent, and then do now, delegate, schedule, or delete.
So I guess I think it makes perfect sense to me. What goes wrong in my mind, I think where the dichotomy lies is a sales professional having a real understanding of what's urgent and what isn't. Because we touched before, didn't we? One of the things that we can get pulled away from a time block for could be an email. So you get an email from a colleague internally. It's not life or death. You can respond to them later on.
Yeah.
But the emotive side of our brain, we get that.
Yeah.
Think, I've got to respond to that straight away.
Yeah.
Then it's managing your emotions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Be able to take a step back and ask yourself, how urgent is this right now? Because effectively, if you're in a sales role, anything that takes you away from your core function of your job, which is building pipeline, closing sales, etc., costing you money at the end of the day in terms of bonus and hitting your targets, etc. So if you're spending, and this will sound really regimented, if you are able to characterize your day and look at the fact that, right, out my day, I've spent probably an hour on non-urgent tasks that I probably should have just parked to the end of the week or whatever it might be. And each hour you can create 5% of your pipeline for your week, for your calls, let's just say. I know I'm being general here. Well, that's an extra 25% of pipeline. Yeah. Over a week, over a month, it's double your pipeline. Now, I'm just being generalistic, but hopefully people that are listening can understand where I'm going with it. And it does sound regimented, but when you look at it and you think, what am I spending time on that I don't really need to spend time on or can wait? Like the compound impact of it is massive, isn't it? Just like the non-urgent task being put in the urgent task piece. So that's why I do really like that, and it makes so much sense to me. But I think it's been as sales professionals and sales leaders as well, helping the team understand what isn't it, what is urgent, what isn't urgent, why isn't it? Because especially with a junior salesperson who's got a year or two experience, that's still very green.
You're gonna want to go at everything.
Yeah, everything's urgent. They want to impress everyone. They get an email from another department or whatever, or someone asks them to do something. They're on it straight away because they're enthusiastic. Yeah, they want to be seen to helping, to taking part in everything. But actually, it can be
detrimental. Yeah. Sure. I think the key thing, Mike, and I really love the way that you sum that up. Really, it's just remembering to ask yourself the question. Is how urgent is this? How important is this? And if you are having to think and you're thinking for a long time and you've got your answer there, really, just remember to ask yourself that question. And you've spoken about sales leaders, anyone even within a managerial role, ask yourself that question. How important is this thing that's just come up right now? Is it life or death? Can I move it to, a couple of hours later on down the line? Can I include this as part of my later time block, which would be admin related, or does this need to be done right now? By asking yourself that question, it really will make the difference in your day and get you feeling a lot more productive for sure.
Yeah, and I know that this is something that we discussed earlier this week that I think could be actually quite useful for people listening as well. The scenario of when you speak to someone and they say, send me an email. And what do we do? Come away from it. We go, right, brilliant. Spoke to someone. I've made 20 calls today, 30 calls, 40 calls, 50 calls. Not spoke to anyone. Speak to the first person. Lovely guy, lovely woman. And they've said to me, send me an email. So I'm going to do straight away. I'm going to send them that email. What are the problems with this?
Oh, Mike,
and the impact it has on people's workflow and efficiency.
Correct, 100%. I like the word workflow as well. I really like that, and I like the word efficiency. And when we speak about time blocks, there's certain amount of time that's related to doing certain tasks. And we spoke about proposals earlier on, and these are things that generate. They take time, and based on the quality of the outreach that you're looking to have, ideally you want to make sure that that's as bespoke, as personal, as tailor-made as possible, right? So the example that you just given, Mike, is such a great example. As a salesperson, I could be a junior salesperson within the team, and I'm trying to, I've got my time block of 20 calls to make within the hour. I haven't been able to speak to people, but I speak to someone and they say, send me an email, right? I would, and you're right, it could sound controversial, but what you want to do here as a salesperson is have the bravery to really qualify that objection that you are getting. And what that essentially looks like.
Interesting that you treat it as an objection, which I think is a good thing, because a lot of this is a fob off. Send me an email, whatever. But carry on.
I feel like it's an objection. I think more times than not, if I've not spoken to you before, if you've not built that rapport, and I'm speaking to you on the phone for the first time, and the thing that you say to me is, look, I can't speak, send me an email. And the next thing that I do is send an email. Just by, experience and qualification, there hasn't been anything that's been asked. What are you going to send that email? What's to be included in that email? And how often do we see, salespeople fail to ask that question? And it's such
What do you want to see in the email? Yeah.
What do you want to see within that email? Right, Mr. Customer, completely appreciate you're at a bad time. I want to make sure that I'm adding value to you within that email. What would you like to see in that email?
Yeah.
And the beauty of that question, sorry, Mike, is that, it's allowing you the opportunity to really, get that that prospect thinking about, what do I want to see in that email? Like how often as, if someone's calling you, like I get call quite a lot as well, Mike. I'm sure, if someone, you kind of respect that salesperson a bit, then you're like, oh, they've got a bit about them. They, maybe they do want to make a difference, right? So I think, asking just that question is such a big question to ask, although it's so basic.
Yeah, because it also shows you if the person that you're speaking to is actually interested or not, or whether they're fobbing you off.
Yeah.
The other question I really like off the back of this is, great, I'll send you that email. When do you think you'll have an opportunity to look at it?
Amazing. Mike, what are you looking to achieve with that one? I really like that.
So there's a couple of things. So we talk a lot about transactional analysis, don't we? Parent, adult, child. So it puts me on an adult level, saying, I respect my time. I respect your time as well. So if I'm sending this email, when do you think realistically you're going to have a chance to look at it? So if you're the hiring manager or decision maker, you say to me, well, to be honest, Mike, shocker this week. It's probably going to be Friday before I send it. Great. Okay. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to send it first thing on Friday morning so it doesn't get lost in your emails, because I appreciate you getting loads of emails. You get hundreds of emails every day. Yeah. I'll send that across. And then when would be a good time after that for me to follow up with you to understand your thoughts? Right. So I'm there taking back control. So I'm in control of the process. I'm hopefully demonstrating to the decision maker, hiring manager, sales director, whoever it's selling to, that I'm a good salesperson and I'm consultative, I'm qualifying properly, I'm setting the next stage in the process, I'm gaining commitment, closing them, all that good stuff that we want salespeople to do. But I'm not then running straight away after the email to put straight away after the call to put an email together and send it across them, because I know they're not going to look at it. So that means that I'm managing my time more effectively. I'm not coming out of a time block, and I'm in control of my day. We talked earlier, didn't we, about being proactive with your day rather than reactive, pushing that needle forward, driving the boat forward. And these are a couple of really simple tips and hacks that any salesperson can do to get more time back, be more effective, and hopefully get more out of the decision makers that you're selling to, because they're going to respect you more, rather than just being like the majority of salespeople out there that'll say, great, I'll send you the email. Send the email over, and we wonder why we don't get a response. It's because we're, the emails aren't personalized. They aren't telling the person what they aren't giving the information that the person wants to receive, but also there's very little qualification follow-up.
Exactly. And the next step of that is that salesperson says, did you see my email? Right? There's been no, that's the next thing.
No, when did you send it?
Yeah, when did you send it? Like how often do we see stuff like that? But what I really, really love there, Mike, is that you've not just really qualified it, but you're also, you're closing at every step of the process, right? You are closing and setting an expectation, and you are then being able to manage your time. And we spoke about, that time block, taking a step back. You're then making the most out of your time, but also you aren't taking time out of your potential prospect as well. So you are now aligned with hopefully what they're looking for. So if this is a time block within a calling time block, the beauty of this is you're also keeping momentum, right? You can then move up and make that next call. You've already got that, that extra good feeling. You're not going to lose 5-10 minutes creating that email. You still got your 2 hours, and you're still going to be able to, make a couple of calls on the back of that. So I really love the closing piece of every step of your process, and I'm pretty sure any prospect will really appreciate that. So it's a great point.
ABC, always be closing.
I thought you were gonna bring out the Michael
horrible,
Jackson
that,
song
isn't
there.
it?
I was about to turn into Michael Jackson there. It's great, mate. I like that.
So let's finish off then. What's been a really good episode so far, and hope people have got a lot of good info and tips, and this provoked a lot of thought for people. Let's talk about planning for tomorrow at the end of the day. Because we all live busy lives. You know, we've got kids, or we've got things happening outside of work. And again, this is something that I've personally done for a long time, that I feel like it definitely helps me maximize my day, which is, and I do this religiously, you know, before I finish work tonight, I will write my to-do list and my time blocking for the next day. So that even if I have a rubbish night's sleep, or as typical, we're getting the train to Manchester, they're late, or you have, you know, a bad commute or something like that. You know, something happens in the morning, like your car breaks down or whatever. You know, life happens, doesn't it? You're coming into work and like you're ready to go. You don't have to think, and get straight into it. You know, and then you are the person that comes in, cracks on straight away, gets hold of people before they're getting in meetings, whatever it might be, opposed to the person next to you that isn't doing this, and they're spending the first 20, 30 minutes coming in. What have I got to do today? And it's a ploddy start to the day. So I wanted to talk around this and get your thoughts on it, and find out a bit about, you know, what you do in terms of your planning for tomorrow at the end of the day piece, and like what benefits you've seen from it.
Yeah, Mike, it's a really, really good point. I think the key thing with this, and I started doing this probably after my first year with BMS, on the back of a review and things that I wanted to do better moving forward. But the real beauty in planning your day, and I do this every day, is literally, you spoke about life happening. What I found is, you know, the beauty of planning your day in terms of what you're looking to achieve for the next day is, you've spoken about if you've had a rubbish night's sleep, or the commute not going according to plan. You know, you turn up into the office, you know, maybe 20 minutes later. We speak about, you know, being purposeful and being intentional with your day, and getting the most out of your day. If you don't do that, you know, it might sound regimented, Mike, but you're going to be behind. You know, you're going to be behind ideally in what you are looking to achieve. There is a beauty in coming to each day with a plan. You know, coming into each day.
It's a winning mentality, though.
It's a winning mentality.
I don't think it is.
100%. And this could be, you know, within your role, but how often is it like when you've got, you know, any form of thing that you're looking forward to, the real benefit of that is just knowing what you're going to look to do tomorrow, you know. So from my end, I really, really enjoy that. And definitely, you know, after work, the night after work, it's literally, what does my morning look like tomorrow? You know, what am I going to be doing between, you know, 8 till 9? What am I going to be looking to do between 9 till 10? And the real benefit of that is just giving you that that momentum in your day. You know, that you're gaining back a 20-30 minute period that you would have either been doing on that day. And if things happen and that can take you off course, which naturally they tend to, by being, you know, ahead of the game, you're going to be even more productive than you would have anticipated.
I couldn't agree more. I really like what you said about being intentional and purposeful with it, because people will be listening and say, "Well, I'll do that anyway. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I've got like a, you know, I've got everything on the system, or I brought a bit of a to-do list, but are we really thinking about it? Are we working the time blocking out, and we analysing, right, what's gone well today? What hasn't? What have I achieved? Which of my time blocks could I stick to? Which of I couldn't? Why couldn't I? Where did they get distracted? Were those distractions because, you know, in a cold calling time block, I had emails and Teams open, and then people were asking me for things internally, and I was responding to it, and do need to shut that down tomorrow. So this all comes into the planning for tomorrow pieces, assessing what's happened with your day. How far are you from where you want to be, and then what do you need to do then tomorrow to get there?
Correct.
You know, I think it's absolutely crucial. I really do. I think it's a small thing to think about, but it has a massive effect on the success of your day if you're doing it correctly. If you're really thinking about it and looking at your day, reflecting, and putting a proper plan in place for tomorrow, not just, I've got a couple of tasks that I need to do. then it's, the benefits can be massive. I also think something as well, just to finish off with, something that I do, and this is a good practice for all sales professionals, because sales, recruitment, whatever you do in sales, it's a roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Roller coaster of emotion. For all the reasons that we know: rejection, people saying yes, then ghosting you, had a day where you don't speak to anyone, etc., etc. So our brains are naturally wired to go to the negative.
Negatives, yeah.
That's how we're wired, isn't it? So we've always been wired. So what I really like to do as part of this planning for tomorrow piece is just write down 3 positives from the day.
Oh, I really like
just
that.
Gives you an opportunity just to step back and think, what three things have happened today that were good?
Yeah.
Because we get so drawn into struggling. You can try and apply a growth mindset and do your very best with that, but we're all human, and sometimes we'll just feel a bit, it's not gone the way that we want to. So I found by writing sort of 3 positives for what's happened at the end of the day, that keeps you in a good headspace. It helps you feel balanced, and then you're like, right, okay, I've got the plan for tomorrow. Recognize what positives have happened today. Let's go, basically.
100%. I really, really like that, Mike. And it's just usually, I'm similar. It's that last call. If that last call is a negative call, or if that last email that is a negative email, your emotions will probably go towards that negative side. But like writing down those 3 things, maybe reflecting and looking back on the day that you've had, within our industry, you might have had, 2 excellent second stage interviews. You would have had an offer. Maybe those have happened in the morning, but because you've had a bad call at 5:10, you're thinking, oh, that's not been a good day. So but you're right, by writing down those 3 points, those 3 things that have gone well, you're like, okay, I've had a bad call to end the day potentially. I don't like to end the day on a bad call personally, but it's just that reflection piece. Like, okay, this might have happened now, but looking back, that's gone well. That's gone well. That's gone well. And just reminding yourself of that, because sometimes we do need to see these things written down to really
out of your head on paper. It works, and a byproduct of that is that you develop your emotional intelligence from it, because you're able to take a step back and reflect. But right, well, that brings us to the end of the episode. So love that. Thanks, Sam. Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, really enjoyed that, Mike. Really enjoyed that. Some great tips, and hopefully people have enjoyed that too.
Indeed. Right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll look forward to bringing another episode to you next week. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye, guys.